Two questions. Does Spirit prefer the Panasonic DR60 over the Portal Connect box? And are we really light in our truest form? Hear those answers from Spirit along with many others. Hey everybody, it's me, Josh Hope Paranormal. I'm bringing you another amazing video here where it's a three-part video that I'm going to walk you through. In the last video that I did, I recorded a lot of messages from Michael that were sounding like we needed to talk, that we needed to thank God, about Jesus, and about a spirit that follows him around, that shares with him. There was a lot of other things that came through that some of it I couldn't understand, and it's very cryptic. But there's enough to understand that we know that something is going on the other side and that they're trying to communicate. Not just trying to communicate, they are getting messages across. Let me show you this clip from that video real quick so you understand what I'm talking about.
Wrapping up this live stream that I'm doing, and I appreciate any guides or proof spirits that were here. Is there anything about the lunar eclipse or about this live that you'd like to say or share with us tonight? Thank you.
Now that was recorded during a live Q&A that I do on my Patreon, which is very cool. A lot of times Michael or a spirit will leave a message at the end of the live stream for us when I do a recording. After that, I decided to set some time aside and just focus on Michael and ask him questions based on those responses. Here is that session. Alright, hello everybody, it's me, Josh. I am sitting here after I did my live about an hour after. It's Friday night, really Saturday morning now, 26th at around 1:45 a.m. And I was going to have a conversation with Michael at some point. And so I didn't want to expend a lot of energy doing a box session, so I just wanted to stick with the DR60. Quiet, I focused, I talked to Jesus in my own intuitive way, and I invited Michael to be in the conversation. It feels like everything aligned right because I was able to get some answers, it sounds like, so I'm going to play those.
Michael, are you here with me listening to what I'm saying? Michael, are you here with me listening to what I'm saying? Sounds like the book is extremely important. Is that correct? Sounds like the book is extremely important. Is that correct?
Now right here, they're talking about a book. From what I can make out, again, all of these captions that I put here are strong suggestions. In no way are they fact. I listen to these over days. I come back to the computer with fresh ears. I listen on headphones and I listen with speakers to try to really understand what is being said. Here it sounds like they're talking about the book. In fact, I ask a second question about the book, and it sounds like it's very apparent they're talking about this book. The book that they're speaking about is the book that I'm writing. I've started writing the book. I have a little bit put down. I've got my chapters. It's really going to be based on my experience and research, and I'm going to hold nothing back. I'm going to put everything I can into this book, all that I have learned, and that's fact and what I believe. So I don't know if he's saying nothing is helping with the book because we're not making a lot of headway with it, and that they're trying to really get me to write this book, and I've been very busy doing a lot of other projects, so I'm doing a little bit on everything. He's talking about the book possibly being a bestseller. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or if he's being real about it, but it's very interesting nonetheless. I ask that and I hear Michael and Jesus Christ. That's very powerful and clear.
Who is Robert? Is Robert was talking? Who is Robert? Is Robert was talking?
Okay.
Did you mean Bob? Is Robert Bob, or is that someone else? Did you mean Bob? Is Robert Bob, or is that someone else?
Here I ask about the spirit named Robert. Now, I don't know who that is, but that name came up a few times in the messages in the last video. So I ask, and the response is Michael saying a name that doesn't sound like Robert, and that God has not let him slap Michael and to talk to him. I then ask again, is Robert Bob, the spirit that used to help me on the box that I haven't heard from in a while? And he says that Bob wasn't being nice to them, which is very weird. Bob used to be a helper. He wasn't being nice, and that Robert left. So to me, those are two different spirits with something very interesting going on. Why was Bob not being nice to these spirits that were helping?
Who is head of the gate? Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly, or did I miss that? Who is head of the gate? Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly, or did I miss that?
In one of the sessions I did, I asked about the gate. I asked about the door. Who's in charge of that? And that name came up. So I wanted to ask again. I don't understand how that is the case, being that we've heard so many negative things come from this entity, from this person. But it is consistent that even from 2 years ago, from that mind-blowing session that I did, that spirit was blocking the door, on the door, doing something regarding the door, and has now come up again as being in charge of the gate or having something to do with the gate. Very interesting.
What am I missing? What is it that I'm not asking you, or what would you like to tell me?
What I also find interesting is that this name has popped up in the last few sessions that I've done in a way that's been different than usual. They were talking about that he loves me, to not block him, that he wants to talk to me, that he's here for a reason. And so again, I'm hearing that Michael can't be hurt, which is great, and that I should talk to this person that's come through many times. So I guess in the near future I will have to do a session where I address this. I'm not ready to do that yet, but when I do, you guys will be the first to see it. What I'm going to show you next is nothing short of amazing. Every once in a while I get to do a podcast, an internet show, an interview, but on Paranormal Soup run by Jason Bland, I get to come on with my box and have a number of different people call in and ask to speak to their loved ones. Well, the first 5 or 6 people that called in were patrons, which was great, and I loved them so much. And one in particular, everyone got some type of validation. It was really quite incredible, quite amazing. And in one of the calls, I had someone call in named Rebecca, and she wanted to speak to her father. Well, let me show you how amazing that was.
Welcome back to the show, Josh. It's been a little while.
Always a pleasure. I love it.
I think the last time I talked to you, we were at the Bel Air House in Ohio.
Yeah, that was great. It was great to be able to meet you in person, and Bill, and a few other great people. So it was awesome. Yeah.
We got 2 people waiting online. Speaking of that, let me get to one of them right now. They've been waiting like since the beginning of the show. All right, we should have a Rebecca on the phone line. Are you there with us, Rebecca?
Yeah, hello. I'm wondering if you can connect to my dad, Mark Evans.
She wants to speak to her father, if it's possible. I will come, or I will something.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Ask for him directly.
Okay.
So right here we have 3 direct responses already. I have found her, which is very indicative of what Spirit says. I miss her, which is amazing to hear. And Josh, you've lost him, which makes sense to me. I got up for a second to let my cat out the door, and in that second I broke my attention. And in that moment I might have lost that connection, still allowing him to come through, but it might have weakened the connection.
Dad, are you there?
That was an English voice too.
And it said Josh, I swear.
Do you have a message for Rebecca? I'm going to review this and listen.
Are you still around me?
I know. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
I'm always around, is what I heard.
Wow. So this is just undeniable stuff. I don't care who you are or what you believe. When you hear this, it's undeniable. First, he says, I turned this off, and he says it in an English accent, which shouldn't be happening at this point, period, at all, through the SCD2. I say something about messages. He says, our messages. She then asks a direct question, are you still around me? He answers it twice. He says, I'm still around you, and Jason hears it in real time. Then again, he says, I'm around her. It's undeniable. Well, we thank you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for calling in.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
That was very
Thank you.
interesting. So as the session ends, I thank him, and another direct response, very respectful, as you wish. And that's it. It's over with. I then take you to another amazing session. But first, let me refresh your memory. There was a patron whose father passed away, and she knew that within the first 48 to 72 hours of someone's passing, the energy is very strong and communication can be very, very good. And so in my car, on the spur of the moment, I pulled out my DR60, I called her, and she asked a question on my recorder over the phone, and her father speaks very clearly.
All right, go ahead. Freddie, do you need help finding the mic? Let us know. Freddie, are you happy? Are you okay?
It's just such a powerful message for anyone that's lost a loved one, because we can know that they're not suffering. They may be still going through something, but they're not suffering, they're by the light, and that they can still love us, which is so awesome. Well, she bought a private session from me, something that I do only about one a week, because that's all I can really do. And the communication is just unbelievable. It really is. If I wasn't doing it, it would be hard for me to believe it at times. So let me take you right into that. Okay. All right. Let's start talking and asking. So the box is starting. So I'm going to try and connect that's a response. So Freddie Romero. So already someone is answering and talking. It may be a guide saying power to Josh Lewis. So they're saying my first and last name, and they're talking about the power that I think I'm tapping into, that I'm drawing on. So I think that's very interesting. Here I'm not just trying to focus on the father, Freddie. I'm also trying to focus on her mother, Gladys, as well. Okay, I feel I'm seeing the two of them, feeling the two of them near the box in this room that I've created. I feel like your dad is trying to help your mom.
Are you guys
Hold on.
fighting? Is Mom and Dad still fighting? Is something going on?
Hold on, they're saying things. Janet wants to know if you and Mom are still fighting.
Move on if you have to, Mom. We love you.
I don't feel anyone is stuck. I just feel
Okay.
like they've moved to another level, but they will need to move again to another level as we're not. Okay. Now here they're saying not chasing the light. That could mean because they're by the light or they're working their way up through the levels, that they're not necessarily going to the light right now. I think it's not as simple as just going to the light sometimes. Through the noise, you'll see, I think through all these noises coming through the box, I'm able to extract very clear answers from them, and I think that that's what he's referring to. Also, find us. Again, indicative of what Spirit says. Find us. They are in another realm. They're in another place where sometimes they could see us, sometimes they can't. Sometimes they can hear us, sometimes they can't. So I think that's very interesting.
Mom, Dad, can you say a name? Can you call my name or your kid's name? And just let us know it's you by saying a name. Why do they forget, Josh?
Well, they don't have their brain. They don't have their brain, so our memories and the experiences are in the ball of light that we are. So the only thing that's really remembered are important life experiences and memories. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are not...
That sounded like my mom.
I know, I heard. Yep, I heard. Gladys, is that you? Can you continue to use the box? Yep, okay.
That sounds like my mom.
Yeah. See, your dad feels like he's staying at the box, trying to work it, and your mom has walked away from the box a few times.
She's mad at him. That's what she used to do.
I don't,
She was good at doing that.
maybe, but it's also a frustration, kind of like, I'm trying to use this, and, it's not perfect, it's not easily worked. It's hard for you. Right, she just said it's hard for me. Well, there it is. I mean, I don't know how much clearer it can get for anyone. First, she says her name. I'm Gladys. It's in a woman's voice that Janet, the patron, already recognizes that voice. Before even hearing the answer in real time, she can recognize the voice. And the voice says, I'm Gladys. And then I can feel intuitively that she's having a hard time working the box, that she's walking away from the table that the box is on in that realm, in that room. And what does she say? This is hard for me, in one of the clearest voices that you can hear. Validating what I was getting, validating that she was here, speaking. It's just absolutely incredible. It really is. My brain still doesn't always comprehend this, what's happening.
Ask her if she remembers what doll I used to collect.
What dolls did Janet used to collect, Gladys? Is that a memory that you took with you? Something. Janet at one point asks me, why does spirit forget? And I tell her what I believe the answer to be, that we don't have our brains anymore, that all of our deeply rooted experiences that we had in life, the real deep memories, stay with us in the essence of our light, the ball of light that we are. And he says, this is how your mom remembers. And I asked the question that Janet wanted to know, what dolls did she play with? And clearly you hear an answer saying Barbies. It sounds like the two of you are there. Like it sounds like Freddie and Gladys. It feels...
Mom, Dad, are you happy? Yes or no? Are you happy?
There's still things to work out, things to accept, things to understand. It's like
Should I be afraid to die?
No, there's no fear of death as far as pain or being trapped. For you, like for them. But it definitely isn't just go to heaven and that's it.
Because that's like a toy for my father. He's trying to work it. He always tries. He's like a mechanic. Mom, Dad, can you say Janet? Who's talking?
Yeah, who's talking? This is a connection.
Is Mom, Dad gone?
It just keeps getting better and better. So not only after I sneeze and the spirit offers me a tissue, but Janet asks who is speaking, and they say twice, I love you, Janet. And Janet, they say her name. I mean, what more can be said about this? Our loved ones don't die. We don't die. And we still have a way of communicating with each other. I'm going to ask some...
Mom, are you mad at me? Mom, are you mad at me?
There's a lot of responses here. She's trying, and she needs more light from her daughter. She asks very clearly. Despite having difficulties with the box, she seems to be using it very well and very strongly. It really is another example of how amazing this work is. And if I wasn't doing it, like I've said before, I would doubt it at times myself. But that's why I go to so many lengths to try to show you how real and valid this work is. Janet has yet again received another amazing message, multiple messages from both of her parents, something that we would all want when our parents die. The next thing I'm going to show you is a message I recorded during a live stream, the last one that I did for my patrons. At the end, I pull out the DR60, and two patrons, Allison and Randy, wanted to know a couple things. Allison wanted to know, what did the spirits prefer, the Portal Connect box or the DR60 Panasonic voice recorder? Well, they answered that question with a very smart-ass remark afterwards. Randy asks a question about the light, asking if we are really light in true form. They answer that as well.
Allison would like to know, which do you prefer to communicate on, the DR60 or the box? Randy would like to know, is consciousness light? Are we really light?
Well, there it is. They prefer the box, even though they were able to clearly speak on the DR60 for the most part, and that they don't think I'm spending enough money, that they're waiting for a bigger budget, and that they will wait. I can't wait to find out what they do when there's a bigger budget. It's pretty awesome. Randy asks about the light, and they say, of course, we're bright light. And that's as simple as that. If you haven't already liked the video, guys, please do so. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon, as you can clearly see the kinds of things that are going on there. I'm doing intuitive classes now once a month, and a lot of other amazing things. Steve and I have some wonderful things in the works for you guys, and continue to check this out. Continue to follow this work. This is real, and for some reason I just feel it's going to keep on getting better in some way. Alright guys, love you all. Until next time, thank you.